So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today is shaping up to be a wild one. AMC stock is up 9.5% at the time of recording this video, and we also have a lot of data and just things that is happening today in the stock market that we need to talk about, including the JOLTS job openings as well as Fed speakers. And Nancy Pelosi did just visit Taiwan, and China has some things to say about it. So let's talk about all of that information. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. And if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description. Come join a group of over 100 active traders. We would love to have you over there. But nonetheless, at the time of recording this video, AMC is up 9.69%. It's definitely a risk on kind of day to day. Now, why is that? Well, long story short, the markets think the Fed is going to break something and push us into a recession. So when that happens, investors look to buy growth, right? When growth is scarce in the economy, when your Coca-Cola is no longer growing at 5% a year, or a bank's no longer growing at 5% a year, these more cyclical companies that just, need like stimulus to grow or need an expanding economy to grow, investors will look to buy growth stocks, and they'll actually pay more for growth stocks, because if there's no growth in the economy and there's growth in growth stocks, that is where investors are going to place their money. So that's why you're seeing this really risk on sentiment today, even when the markets were red for a period of time. And pretty much the same thing happened today. You've seen this sell-off in the beginning of the trading day. We were down over 1% on the S&P, all the way down to 406.83 was the low, and then we just made our way back to 413. So you're getting these wild round moves, and you're getting that initial sell-off and then just rally straight to the moon after. Now, what we're actually getting today, very, very interesting. So Fed's Daly says our work is far from done on inflation. Evans sees reasonable chance for smaller hike. The Federal Reserve still has a lot of work to do before it gets inflation under control, San Francisco Fed Mary Daly said. Daly said no one should read recent big rate increases as an indication that the central bank is winding down its rate hikes. Chicago Fed President Charles Evans said raising another half point in September is reasonable, but another 3/4 point hike could also be okay. So, really the markets are getting ahead of the Fed pivot. And from what we're getting right now from Fed speakers, it doesn't look like that is coming anytime soon. So keep that in mind. You also did have the JOLTS job openings, and the job openings fell sharply in June as labor market shows signs of slowing. The total employment vacancies fell to about 10.7 million through the last day of June. Even with the sharp decline, there was still 1.8 open jobs per available worker. So there's still way too many jobs that are out there, and the Fed is still going to look to this and say, hey, we have a lot of room to continue to hike. And the final thing, China ratchets up military and economic pressure on Taiwan as Pelosi begins her visit. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi landed in Taiwan's capital of Taipei on Tuesday night for a controversial visit that has infuriated Beijing and strained the already tense U.S.-China relationship. After warning Pelosi for weeks not to come to the disputed territory, China responded Tuesday by announcing new import bans on certain Taiwanese goods. The Chinese military has also flexed its muscle with recent live fire exercises just 70 miles from Taiwan and the deployment Tuesday of fighter jets to the Taiwan Strait. So we'll see what happens with that. It's probably not going to escalate anymore from here, but watch to see if there's any retaliation against American companies. Watch Apple, Tesla, companies like that do business in China, and see if China is going to affect them with some form of sanctions. I think that's probably the most reasonable thing, but hey, we'll see. There's no point in trying to forecast or prejudge what China is going to do. Now, for tomorrow, You do have ISM, non-manufacturing PMI, factory orders month over month, factory orders excluding transportation for June, all of that coming out at 10 o'clock in the morning. You have the OPEC and non-OPEC menstrual meeting, and that is, going to be important for oil, but you really don't have a lot of economic data. If we do get a Fed speaker, it's not on this list for the economic calendar, but it is possible they pop up on CNBC or something else and could move the markets. As of right now, nothing too crazy for tomorrow, but you do have earnings here in after hours. You have AMD, PayPal, Oxy, SoFi, Airbnb, Starbucks, Gilly, Pioneer, Coterra, and Livit. They report earnings here in after hours, and especially AMD I think is going to be probably the biggest market mover, as well as PayPal. All of them will really be important, and it will give us a kind of sentiment on what to expect out of these different industries, right? AMD, semiconductors, PayPal, fintech, SoFi, fintech, Airbnb, travel, leisure, hospitality, Starbucks, that higher end consumer, and the coffee business. Now, you can also tell that this rally that we're seeing, especially in high growth stocks, which is a lot of our portfolios, is really due to recession fears and cyclical growth slowing down because of the yield curve inversion. The yield curve is now inverted 33 basis points, meaning a 2-year bond will pay you out more than a 10-year bond, 33 basis points. Investors don't want to own 2-year bonds. They think the Fed will break something, they think a recession is coming, and they think inflation will be higher than what the bond is yielding over the next 2 years, but they think you're going to see deflation over the next 10 years due to that recession. And if we do pull up the bonds, bond yields are sitting at 2.71%. That's almost where the federal funds rate is. So it's kind of mind-blowing that we're seeing this Fed tightening and continued Fed tightening, and the bond yields are not really reacting, and the yield curve is still getting deeper and deeper inverted. Also, as these Fed speakers have came out today and said they support 75 basis points, the rate hike expectations have not went up at all. You're still only sitting at 13% expectations or probability of a 75 basis point rate hike, 87% chance of a 50 basis point rate hike. So all in all, guys, I mean, take the gain for what it is. I do think there's more downside in the markets, especially once the markets realize the Fed will continue to raise rates very aggressively, but take the gains while you can. Make sure to sell some covered calls. Make sure to, do some things like that to help insulate yourself once the downside does come. Now, since AMC stock is up about 9.5%, let's go ahead and take a look at the option activity for the day. Now, the option activity for the day and the positive order value is 95%. A lot more activity today. 19 orders totaling $1.56 million. A lot of $13 calls that are coming through for August 5th and August 12th. August 5th would be this Friday. August 12th would be, I believe that's next Friday. A lot of these orders, most of these orders are over $100,000, so they're on the larger side and they're very directionally bullish. A lot of these break evens are in the higher end $16 range. A lot of these hedge funds are paying almost $400 a contract. That would put the break even at about $17, or like I said, the high $16 range. So I think that is very bullish what we're seeing as far as option activity. What we're seeing for the estimated short interest of free float, that is 19.55%. Free float out on loan, 27.89%. Shares out on loan, 143.75 million. Days to cover, 3.45. Cost to borrow, 9.68. And 100% share utilization. Now, cost to borrow max is sitting at 13.32%. Cost to borrow minimum at 8.59%. And the cost to borrow average at 9.61%. So all is looking good there, not too much of an actual change, and you can see the stock market is starting to rapidly sell off. AMC just a little bit, but look at this picture perfect rally, guys. I mean, AMC stock is going quite crazy today. There's no other way to put it. Look, we broke out above $15 yesterday after 15 was our previous level of support before we went to $18 back here. You had broke out to 18, you came back down under the 100-day moving average, held a little support at 15, gapped under that, and then for 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, we tried to get above 15 yesterday. We got above 15 with a clean 5.5% rally, but we could not break out above the 100-day moving average. And then what happened today? Well, you gapped up right at the 100-day moving average. This is typical of what you would expect to see with a bullish rally. And now that we are above the 100-day moving average, this is showing you a solid bullish trend, a very solid bullish trend. Now, all we have really to go from here is to the upside, in my personal opinion. Now, even the volume on the day is only 32.7 million. Once there's an actual reason to buy AMC, to be more bullish once Adam Aaron and earnings come out, well, that's when you're probably going to see the biggest move. I imagine AMC is taking more stakes in companies, going to issue a dividend, going to reward shareholders in some way, shape, or form. So I am looking for a breakout above 18. I still think in between $18 and $20 per share is a reasonable price target by the end of this week. If not, if earnings are bad, which keep in mind we typically do sell off after earnings and then tend to rally about 2 to 4 weeks after earnings, well, you could come back down to the 50-day moving average around $13.72 per share. But from what I'm seeing right now, it's looking pretty darn bullish even with this low volume. So more volume comes in, that's going to be something that can give us an even bigger rally. The RSI at 61.72, so over that neutral level of 50, but not too crazy yet. And the MACD is just now starting to go bullish. So let me know what you guys think about AMC stock, about what is going on today. How are you positioning your portfolios with AMC, with other trades? Are you looking for downside? Are you just bullish? Do you think lows are in for the markets, or do you think we're heading to newer lows at some point? Let me know all of that information. Thank you guys for tuning in. Get your free stock down below in the description. Come trade with us live in real time. Link down below in the description as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.